I never know how she looked or anything about her. So at this point where Bumpy is telling me, per se, to get another woman so that we can have a threesome, she wasn't there anymore. The baby mama wasn't an issue as she was prior. So one day, specifically, Bumpy tells me that I want to take you out, and the role of us going out is for you to find another woman that you're going to be attracted to.
Can I just ask a question? Listen, I have no strong judgment on polygamy or polyamory. Do what you want to do. There are things I feel like maybe are not for me because I don't know how to do them. Yeah. I don't have the skill set or maybe the emotional bandwidth. So I'm just curious for you. Is this something that was not out of the norm for you? Did you maybe grow up seeing this kind of dynamic or polygamy? And why was it almost like an easy sell? Why were you able to be won over? Like, okay, maybe it's something I'd consider.
It wasn't something I'd ever seen, ever. The way I knew polygamy to run and the way he wanted it was something I had never seen, ever.
Did he come from a polygamous home? Or maybe a religion that leaned towards polygamy?
No. Not at all. He keeps saying he was, but no, not that I saw. But so that happened. And the reason it was easy for me to be sold into it, it's because every time he kept telling me, you don't want to lose me, right? And I'm like, yeah, of course I wouldn't. Then do the things that I would want or I need to be a happy man. And he'd always go about, if you don't do it, if I'm not getting the woman from you, I'll eventually go out and get the woman for myself. And I'm like, but if you go get the woman for yourself, that's cheating because it means you have to date them, court them and all that. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so do I get to know about it? Like, no, because you were given the opportunity, but you didn't do it. So I'm like, oh. So I have to choose between getting this woman and just letting him get one. Me being me, I was always on Tinder, looking for women. Like my bio was looking for women for threesomes. That was my bio. And women would flood in my DM.
Interesting.
They would flood my DM.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Real women or like bots? Or?
No, women. Women that would give me their numbers.
You know what? That's kind of... I'm a bit disturbed, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, like, go women. That's pretty...
Yeah.
Yo, that's wild. Yeah. Okay.
So they'd always flood
And Tinder, you said?
Yeah.
Yikes.
So they'd always just see my bio and all send photos and their phone number. Photos and phone number. So it was easy. So the moment I first got one, I took just one number from Tinder. The conversation was simple. I didn't even need to sell anything. I was just like, are you available this weekend? Because I'm off this weekend. My man is off. Are you available? Can I have a threesome and see how it goes? Everybody was just like, yes. It's the first one I had and I was like, oh, interesting. So we had the first threesome. My first thought was like, oh fuck, this is not okay. It doesn't feel okay with me because a threesome, I have to participate. And then there's a point I have to wait as the other woman and Bumpy are intimate. And then she also has to wait as Bumpy and I are intimate. And then Bumpy has to wait as me and the other woman are intimate. And it just didn't sit well. I was shaky. And Bumpy seemed easy about it. He was right into character. And immediately in all the women we had, he would always want to ask, are you okay if you spend the night? Do you want to come again? He'd always just want to give them girlfriend roles immediately. Will you cook for us supper? Will you oil my back? Like such things. And the women were just like, yeah, okay, this.
So it happened more than once?
It happened more than once, more than 5 times as well.
And how did this sit with you, like being intimate with another woman?
It wasn't sitting well with me. I'd complain and complain and complain. And each time I complained, Bumpy would be like, you're just not being a source of peace. Honestly, you're not being a source of peace. And I'm like, what does a source of peace mean? I'm just complaining about the things you want us to do and they're not sitting well with me. It doesn't feel like this is something I want to do the next one. It got to a point where he'd take my phone, enter Tinder himself, and talk to the women and plan those things. So I'd get home, say from work, I've gone back to my bedsitter, and he says, "Are you coming over today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm even just gotten home. I want to carry the things over and come." And the woman would be there. And I was like, wow, okay. So after a few times of that happening, one day I just sat down and told him, this can go on. So I want to leave. I want to leave this relationship because it seems like I'm bending and bending to do the things you want. And at that time, we're having so many threesomes that I cannot keep count, one. Also, he's still cheating with other women. So I'm asking him, it seems like you're a man who does not get satisfied. There's no way you'll have threesomes every other weekend and still cheat. So he cheat, and I'm just like, I can't keep up. So on the day that happened, 2 weeks later, he tells me, how about we move in together? Instead of me doing shopping in your house or you paying rent and all that, let's just have this house. And his house, rent was not paid because it was their house. So I was like, are you sure? And it came at a point where I wanted to move from my bedsitter to a 1-bedroom. So it's like, instead of looking for the 1-bedroom, the day you said you were moving, because I had found a house and everything, so I was about to go pay. He's like, no, instead, I found a lorry, you'll move your things to my house. I was like, oh,